A very warm welcome to every one of you for today's session on the Bhagavad Gita. Let us begin by invoking blessings of Guru and Gauranga. Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Tomorrow is the appearance day of Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj. He is a great acharya who has rendered great service to the whole world, and remembering him and offering him our respects. Let us sing this beautiful bhajan composed by one of our previous acharyas, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Maharaj. This bhajan is famously known as Guru Ashtakam, 8 stanzas glorifying the qualities of a spiritual master. And today we sing this in memory of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj. Samsara dava nalalidha loka Pranaya karunya ghana ghanatvam Praptasya kalyana gunarnavasya Vande Guru Shri Charnarabindam Samsara dava nalalidhaloka Tranaya karunya ghana ghanatvam Praptasya kalyana gunarnavasya Vande Guru Shri Charnarabindam Mahaprabhu Kirtan Nritya Gita Vadhitramadyan Manasorasena Mahaprabhu Kirtan Nritya Gita Vadhitramadyan Manasorasena Romanchakampa Shrutaranga Bhajo Vande Guru Shri Charnarabindam Romanchakampa Shrutaranga Bhajo Vande Guru Shri Charnarabindam Shri Vigrahara Tana Nityanana Shringarathan Shri Vigraharadhana Nityanana Shringaratan Mandiramarjanado Yuktasya Bhaktamscha Niyunjatopi Vande Guru Shri Charnarabindam Yuktasya Bhaktamscha Niyunjatopi Vande Guru Shri Charnarabindam Chaturvidhashi Bhagavat Prasado Swadvana Treptan Haribhakta Sangan Chaturvidhashi Bhagavat Prasado Swadvana Treptan Haribhakta Sangan Kritvaiva Treptem Bhajata Sadaiva Vande Guru Shri Charnarabindam Kritvaiva Treptem Bhajata Sadaiva Vande Guru Shri Charnarabindam Shri Radhika Madhavayorapara Madhurya Leela Gunarupanam Shri Radhika Madhavayorapara Madhurya Leela Gunarupanam Pratikshana Swadhanalolupasya Vande Guru Shri Charnarabindam Pratikshana Swadhanalolupasya Vande Guru Shri Charnarabindam Nikunja Yuno Ratikeli Siddhyai Yayale Bheryo Tirapekshaniya Nikunja Yuno Ratikeli Siddhyai Yayale Bheryo Tirapekshaniya Tatrati Dakshat Ativallabhasya Vande Guru Shri Charnarabindam Tatrati Dakshat Ativallabhasya Vande Guru Shri Charnarabindam Sakshadharit Vena Samasta Shastre Uktastata Bhavyata Eva Sadhi Sakshadharit Vena Samasta Shastre Uktastata Bhavyata Eva Sadhi Kintu Prabhorya Priya Eva Tasya Vande Guru Shri Charnarabindam Kintu Prabhorya Priya Eva Tasya Vande Guru Shri Charnarabindam Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado Yasya prasadat nagati kotopi Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado Yasya prasadat nagati kotopi Dhyayam tuvam tasya yashastri sandhyam Vande Guru Shri Charnarabindam Dhyayam tuvam tasya yashastri sandhyam Vande Guru Shri Charnarabindam Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Vishwanatha Thakur Srila Prabhupada, Vishwanatha Thakur Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur Prabhupada, Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur Prabhupada. Jai Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jai Radha Krishna Chandra Radha Krishna Chandra Radhe Jai Radha Krishna Chandra Radha Krishna Chandra Radhe Jai Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Vrindavan Dham Jai Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jai Vrindavan Dham, Jai Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Jai Gaura Nitai, Jai Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jai Jaya Gurudev, Prabhupada, Gurudev, Prabhupada. जय भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर महाराज की जय, हरिनाम संकीर्तन महायज्ञ की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। हरे कृष्णा। Oh, I'm so sorry. Hare Krishna. Hope I am audible. Moving on to the verse for the day. Is the screen visible? Can somebody confirm?
Yes, it is, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
It is, but there's a big square in the middle of it.
Oh, is it? Oh.
Yeah.
Not on my screen. Let me do that again. That helps. Been seeing that in the Facebook live as well. Any better, Prabhu?
No, it's still there.
Oh. I'm not sure we can do much about it. Let's move on. Hope it's not much of a disturbance.
If you scroll up a little bit, you'll be able to see the translation in purple. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Right.
I'll begin with the verse and the synonyms, and then we'll come down to translation purport. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, second chapter, verse number 23. Second chapter entitled Contents of the Gita Summarized. Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavakaha, na chainam kledayantyapo, na shoshayati marutaha. Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavakaha, na chainam kledayantyapo, na shoshayati marutaha. Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavakaha, na chainam kledayantyapo, na shoshayati marutaha. Anybody like to try? Please try.
Yeah, this is Vasan.
Yes. Go ahead, please.
Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavakaha, nachainam kledayanti apo, nashoshayati marutaha.
Thank you. Anybody else? Please try. Yes, Isha.
Yeah. Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavakaha, naschainam kledayanti apho, nasho shayati parataha.
Yes. Thank you. Synonyms. Na, never. Enam, unto the soul. Chindanti, can cut into pieces. Shastrani, all weapons. Na, never. Enam, unto the soul. Dahati burns. Pavakaha fire. Na never. Cha also. Enam unto the soul. Kledayanti moistens. Apaha water. Na never. Shoshayati dries. Marutaha wind. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada, Jai Shri Prabhupada. Translation. The soul can never be cut into pieces by any weapon, nor can he be burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. Purport by Sri Prabhupada. All kinds of weapons, swords, flames, rains, tornadoes, etc., are unable to kill the spirit soul. It appears that there were many kinds of weapons made of earth, water, air, ether, etc., in addition to the modern weapons of fire. Even the nuclear weapons of the modern age are classified as fire weapons, but formerly there were other weapons made of all different types of material elements. Firearms were counteracted by water weapons, which are now unknown to modern science. Nor do modern scientists have knowledge of tornado weapons. Nonetheless, the soul can never be cut into pieces nor annihilated by any number of weapons, regardless of scientific devices. Nor was it ever possible to cut the individual souls from the original soul. The Mayavadi, however, cannot describe how the individual soul evolved from ignorance and consequently became covered by illusory energy. Because their atomic individual souls, Sanatana, eternally, they're prone to be covered by the illusory energy. And thus they become separated from the association of the Supreme Lord, just as the sparks of the fire, although one in quality with the fire, are prone to be extinguished when out of the fire. In the Varaha Purana, the living entities are described as separated parts and parcels of the Supreme. They are eternally so, according to the Bhagavad Gita. Also, so even after being liberated from illusion, the living entity remains a separate identity, as is evident from the teachings of Lord to Arjuna. Arjuna became liberated by the knowledge received from Krishna, but he never became one with Krishna. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. The 1960s saw the emergence of one of the greatest heavyweight boxing legends, Muhammad Ali. And he was famous for being very outspoken. And there are some of his statements where he exclaims, pumping his fist in the air as I'm the greatest, and so on. And he was actually one of the greatest legends in boxing. Let's just have view some glimpses of his life. A fan is recalling some of his highlights.
I'm gonna float like a butterfly and sting like a bee.
This is the
George
voice of
can't hit what his eyes can't
Muhammad Ali.
see. All of you chumps are gonna bow when I whoop him. All of you. I know you got him. I know you got him picked. But the man's in trouble. I'm gonna show you how great I am.
Bluffed him. I done everything. Beat him up basically for about 5 or 6 rounds. I thought it was easy. Then about the 6th round, he whispered in my ear after I'd hit him in the side, "That all you got, George?"
And never talk about who's gonna stop me, because ain't nobody gonna stop me. I must be the greatest. I shook up the world. I shook up the world. I told you, all of my critics, that I was the greatest of all time.
Yes, and just some glimpses of his And here is
If you think I won't Sonny Lister, you ain't like it, George Foreman. He talks too much, he's ugly, he's pretending I'm the true champion, and they make me the underdog. I'm gonna show them all they're wrong, because I'm the champion. I'm the real champion. There'll never be one like me. And all you people in Britain who rank me as the greatest, I'm gonna prove I'm the greatest. I'm gonna prove to you I'm the greatest. We're gonna prove to the world I'm the greatest. This is my last fight. I don't want none of you to miss it. So please come to theaters. I'm going to eat some raw meat, and I'm going to train. I'm going to get ready and chop some little trees. If you think I won't Sonny Lister, you
yes, that was Muhammad Ali. He happened to pass away recently, and all the big leaders, Barack Obama and many others, paid their respects for the champion that he was, and he was a very inspiring figure. And unfortunately, he happened to suffer from Parkinson's disease, and these were during his last days. You can see he was called, he's invited, he was honored to light the Olympic torch, and you can see he had this Parkinson's, wherein he's constantly having tremor in his hands, and this got worse with the passing of years. And you can see he's lighting the torch. So so Muhammad Ali, certainly one of the greatest boxing legends, and there are so many tributes that are offered to him by his fans, well-wishers, remembering his heydays. So at some point in time, although he was the greatest, and it was his ambition to be the greatest, and he went on to become the greatest. And eventually, as everyone has to face the reality of life, all of that strength, all of that powers, fame, are they begin to deteriorate. It is interesting to note this. There is a feeling in us, especially when we are on top of the world, that be it any art, any profession, any sport, be in whatever that we are pursuing, there is a sense that I am, due to my abilities, my intelligence, my beauty, I am the greatest, and I will be the greatest. And it is important to see, if I were to claim myself that I am the greatest, then I should have the same strength, the same agility, the same powers at my disposal. Whenever I want them, they must be at my disposal. So the fact that they are with us for a certain period of time, and then after that, they are taken away from us. Like we saw in the case of Muhammad Ali, towards the end of his life, because of his Parkinson's disease, he had become so weak. The same boxing legend, champion, was unable to lift a glass of water because of the tremors of Parkinson's. Of course, he was a believer, but there are lessons that we can draw from his life. A wonderful reminder of the reality of our life and existence. It is everyone's craving. It is a craving that everyone is very eagerly pursuing, to be on the top of the world, to be the greatest, to be recognized in one's particular field, whatever it may be. Somebody may be pursuing dance, music, somebody may be pursuing teaching, somebody may be pursuing some sport, whatever it may be. It is our desire that we want to be the greatest. We want to be invincible, possess such powers, abilities that nobody can surpass me. Invincible. So this is a normal desire that we see in every living being. And in this context, it is it's interesting to note that when we are pursuing this desire, we fail to recognize the design behind how this creation has been created by the Supreme Lord. And everyone, without an exception, as they pass their life, they meet with frustration, disappointment, even if they were at the peak of their career, peak of they have achieved their ambition, their goals, but the fact that things comes to pass leaves us with a sense of regret that I couldn't hold on for long, and I have to give up. I have to let go. There is disappointment. There is frustration. So this desire of a living entity to be the number one, the greatest, is actually a disease. This is a disease. And this is wonderfully reflected in the life of Dhruva Maharaj. This Dhruva Maharaj, his pastimes are narrated in the 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. This Dhruva Maharaj, you can see, yes. So long time ago, there was this king, Uttanapada. Uttanapada was son of Swayambhuva Manu, who was the son of Lord Brahma. So this is the beginning of creation. This story, the history, which is recorded in the Bhagavatam. So this king Uttanapada, he had 2 sons. This is Dhruva, this is Uttama. Uttama was born of Suruchi, the lady that we are able to see, and Dhruva was the son of Suniti. So the king had two wives, Suruchi and Suniti. And one day, Dhruva, who was hardly, you can see, he's hardly 4 or 5 years old, he comes to sit on the lap of his father. And as he comes to sit on the lap of his father, Suruchi, she yells at him. And she screams on top of her voice, and very harshly she tells him that that she cannot, my dear boy, you're aspiring to sit on the lap of your father, to sit on the throne. You will never be able to fulfill this ambition because you're not born from my womb. Better that you pursue austerity, give up your body and pray that you will get to take birth in my womb, and then you may be able to fulfill your desire. So she was very harsh, and she insulted the boy. Boy was affectionate towards the father, wants to come and sit on his lap and play with the father. It's very normal, but this lady treated him very, very harshly and asked him, "Get out! You cannot sit on your father's lap. Give up any ambition to sit on the throne of your father, because you're not born of my womb." So the king was very sorry, but because he was very attached to Suruchi, he did not object, and he did not respond to pacify the boy. And the boy was very, very hurt. It's very hurt. Although 5 years, but he was a Kshatriya, blue-blooded, and he was feeling insulted greatly. And he went crying to his mother Suniti. She was a great devotee of the Lord. And to his mother, he said that he told the whole thing, what had happened. And so the mother was very pained to hear what had happened. And she told Dhruva that actually your mother is right. Your stepmother is right. If there is any one person who can fulfill your ambition to sit on the throne of your father, it is Krishna. And she said, unfortunately, my dear son, I'm not able to help you. Your father is very attached to Suruchi, and he doesn't have much affection for me. I will not be able to help you. But there is one person who can help you, who can fulfill all your desires, and that is Krishna. So this boy asked, oh Krishna, where can I find him? So then she said that the great yogis, they search after Krishna by going to the forest, and they engage in worshipping him, and then they realize him. So this boy heard from his mother that Krishna is to be found in the forest. So then he started immediately. He left to the forest, 5-year-old boy. He was so determined. He was like, come what may, I must go and find Krishna. And then as he was, he started from his palace, and he was going to the forest. And at that time, Lord Krishna saw that this boy was very eager to have his darshan. And so Lord Krishna arranged for his pure devotee Narad Muni to go and guide Dhruva Maharaj in how to find him. So Narad Muni came, and then Narad Muni told him, my dear boy, what are you doing? Where are you going? So then Dhruva Maharaj said, no, I've been insulted by my stepmother, and I want to have a kingdom which is much greater than even my great-grandfather Brahma. And I will achieve this by the blessings of Krishna. And I'm told that he is in the forest. I shall find him in the forest, and I will fulfill my desire. So then Narad Muni tried to discourage him. No, see, you are a small boy. In this forest, there are many dangerous animals. And why are you taking this so seriously? Later in life, you can search after Vishnu, after Krishna. Now you go home. He said, no, I will not go home. I want to pursue this. I will find out Krishna. So then Narad Muni told him, all right, you chant this mantra. You gave him a mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And he taught him how to form a deity of Krishna and worship him in the forest, offer him various articles and do his tapasya. And so following their instructions, Dhruva Maharaj began to perform severe tapasya in the forest. And in 6 months' time, as he was progressing in his tapasya, so Dhruva Maharaj gradually, he was eating fruits and leaves and drinking water, and he stopped one by one. He stopped eating fruits, stopped eating leaves, stopped even drinking water, and to a point even he stopped breathing. And in 6 months, because of his enormous tapasya, the Lord was very, very pleased. And Krishna in his Vishnu form appears before him and gives him his darshan and blesses him. And Dhruva Maharaj, as he beholds the wonderful form of the four-handed Lord Vishnu, in front of him, he goes into great ecstasy and he offers wonderful prayers glorifying the Supreme Lord. And the Lord, being pleased with his devotion, with his austerities, blesses him that he will be the emperor of the world for 36,000 years, and he will rule with full strength of his senses and his mind. And then after this 36,000 years, he will become the ruler of the greatest planet in this universe, much greater than even Brahmaloka, that is the Dhruva Loka, the pole star, which is actually a Vaikuntha Loka within this universe, where the Kshiradagashai Vishnu resides in the Milk Ocean. So he awarded him the proprietorship of the entire Dhruva Loka, of the pole star, which is why it is called as Dhruva Loka. And he said that he will become the ruler of the Vaikuntha Loka, and in that way he will continue to engage in devotion service eternally. So having received all these benedictions, because by the darshan of Lord Vishnu and by the touch of you can see the Lord is extending the conch shell and he touches the boy with the conch shell, and by that Dhruva becomes completely purified. And then later, having achieved what is so difficult for even great demigods like Indra and others to achieve, the personal association of the Supreme Lord, Dhruva Maharaj had achieved. And because he became completely purified, he laments that he had approached the Lord with material desire to be the Lord, to dominate, to control, to the master, to be the greatest of rulers. So he regrets and he offers this beautiful prayer. He says, Sthana bilashi tapasi sitoham tvam praptavan deva munindra gushyam kacham vichinvan api divya ratnam swamin kritartosmi varam nayache. So he says, Sthana bilashi, desiring for kingdom. Sthana bilashi tapaso stitoham. I pursued tapasya, desiring a great kingdom. Sthana bilashi tapaso stitoham tvam praptavan deva munindra gushyam. And I have been able to achieve something which even great demigods like Tvam Praptavan Deva Munindra Guhyam, great sages, great rishis, great demigods are unable to achieve what I have achieved. What is that? Tvam Praptavan, I have achieved your personal association, your darshan, your presence. Kacham vichinvan api divya ratnam swamin kritartosmi varam na yache. And he laments and he says that I came just like a person who is searching for pieces of glass. Kacham means glass. Kacham vichinvan api divya ratnam. Somebody who is searching for glass, if he comes across a valuable jewel, he will no longer be interested in the glass. So he says, I came looking for fulfilling some material desires of proprietorship, ownership. But what have I gained? I've gained the greatest benediction of having your darshan and your service. And he says that having achieved this, having achieved an opportunity to be engaged in your loving service, Dhruva Maharaj is saying, Swamin kritartosmi varam na yache. He says, Swamin kritartosmi. I'm completely satisfied. I'm completely satisfied. Varam na yache. I do not want any material benedictions. I do not want any material benedictions. I'm more than satisfied. But still, the Lord, respecting his original desire for which he had approached him, blesses him to remain for another 36,000 years and rule as an sovereign, unrivaled emperor with full strength of his senses and intelligence. And then after that, attain the ownership of the Vaikuntha planet, Dhruva Loka, which is named after Dhruva Maharaj. Which is far greater than even Lord Brahma's planet of Brahma Loka, because this is what he desired. He desired a kingdom much greater than his great grandfather Brahma, and that was sanctioned. And so Lord not only fulfilled his material desires, but also gave him the benediction of going back to Godhead and being engaged in his eternal loving service. But he was very embarrassed. Dhruva Maharaj is feeling very embarrassed. I approached the Lord for such material things. How fallen I am. I should have attained his the opportunity to go back to Godhead immediately. But because of my material desires, now I have to stay in this material world and enjoy the material opulences because I had pursued this material desires. How unfortunate I am. Missed the opportunity of going immediately back to Godhead. So like this, he was lamenting. So this is just I'm sorry. So we see from the pastime of Dhruva Maharaj, this pursuit of any material desire, even this desire to be the greatest, to be invincible, to be indestructible, to be above everybody else. All of these are a symptom of a disease of the conditioned soul. A conditioned soul is afflicted with this desire to lord over. I am the monarch of all that I survey. This is called lording tendency. Every one of us are having lording tendency, which means we want to control people, we want to control objects, we want to control situations to our benefit. This is called lording tendency. And this is a disease. This is Krishna explains this in the Bhagavad Gita. He says, Ichha dvesha samuttena dvanda mohena bharata. Ichha dvesha samuttena. He's explaining the reason why we have come here to this material world to suffer. Why we have come here? Why we are in this prison house? He says, because of Ichha and Dvesha. What is that? The living entity, somehow, he, being originally residing in the spiritual world, he gets this desire. Why only Krishna should enjoy everybody's services and everybody surrendering to Krishna? I also want to be like Krishna. I want to receive everybody's honor and respect and surrender. Ichha, this desire to lord over. Because in the spiritual world, Krishna's position is that he's the supreme lord. But we are desiring to be like him, which is a unconstitutional desire for the jiva. And dvesha. Dvesha means envy. Why only Krishna should enjoy? I also want to enjoy. Dvesha. So for such souls, they are given an opportunity in this material world to fulfill their desires, to become the Lord. And as per the laws of karma, each person is able to acquire to their heart's contentment. They can acquire various abilities, various qualities, and try to become the Lord, they can fulfill their desire of lording over others. And we can see that at different levels, this is in play. Now we are seeing in Europe, there is a power play going on. Russia is on the verge of invading Ukraine, and there are others who are very concerned. So somebody is trying to increase their territory, conquer their woes, and become powerful and become number one, crush all their enemies, so that they can. So this is happening at a very at a national level. It can happen at a community level, society level. It can happen in a family level. This disease of lording over is at all levels. At an individual level, I am thinking how I can control, manipulate my family members to my advantage, my colleagues to my advantage, my friends to my advantage, how I can manipulate, how I can control. So this controlling nature, this lording over tendency is a disease. This is our original disease because this is coming from a tendency to imitate Krishna. A devotee never gets into this trap of trying to be the Lord. A devotee understands my original position is to be Jivera Surubhai Krishnera Nitya Das. I am eternally the servant of Krishna. I am as a spirit soul, as Krishna is sharing in this in the verse today. As a spirit soul, we are indestructible. We are invincible. We are actually invincible. Nainam chindanti shastrani nainam dahati pavakaha na chainam kleda yantyapo na shoshyati marutaha. As a the spirit soul is very powerful. It cannot be destroyed. We as an individual are very unique in the sense that we can never be destroyed by any weapon. We cannot be destroyed by fire. We cannot be destroyed by any object. Nobody can shoot a bullet and destroy or a bomb or whatever it may be. That is what Krishna is saying, the unique nature. No material elements can harm the soul. In that sense, we are invincible. Although we have this invincible nature, this soul, this tiny soul, constitutionally is a servant of the Supreme Soul. Nityo nityanam chetanas chetananam ekoyo bahunam vidadhati kaman. There are so many eternal living entities, and of all those eternal living entities, there is one of them who is the supremely eternal living entity, and that is the Supreme Lord. Nityo nityanam chetanas chetananam ekoyo bahunam. How is he unique? That supreme living entity maintains all the other eternal living entities. That is a relationship. Krishner Swarup hai Jivere Swarup. What that means, the living entity's original position. Jivere Swarup hai Krishnere Nityada. So a Jiva, a devotee is never in this competition to become the Lord. He is always eager to become the servant of the Lord, because he's able to appreciate this, that the whole design of the whole reason why I'm suffering here is because I'm trying to be the Lord, and that is unconstitutional. I'm always a dasa. I have to develop servitude. I have to develop, and Krishna is saying, surrender unto me. Krishna is demanding our surrender. Krishna is demanding our service attitude. And this is actually the lifelong project for a devotee. How to overcome this lording tendency and to develop servitude, to become a dasa or a dasi. This is our whole project. Sometimes, even in a Vaishnava community, when we are immature, we have this mood that when we are rendering some services, that how can I help? How can I, Prabhu or Mataji, how can I help you? Please let me know. And so there is a sense in the devotee that I am helping the Lord. I am helping the Lord's mission. I am helping the devotees who are availing my services in the Lord's mission. They are benefiting. They are taking help from me. This is actually immature understanding when somebody is, especially when somebody is beginning their journey. We have this sense, and this is how the whole world is. Everybody thinks when they come to volunteer, when they come to render services, there is this feeling that, Prabhu, how can I help? What can I do? Let me know how I can help. But a person who is mature, he does not speak like this, because devotees understand the Lord's the spiritual master. They don't require our help. This has to be very clearly understood, especially in the devotees have to be very clear about this. Krishna is Atma Rama. That means he's completely satisfied. He doesn't require your and my service. He doesn't require. Lakshmi Sahasrashata Sambrama Sevyamanam. Thousands and thousands of Lakshmi Devi. Whole world is after her mercy. Whole world is after how they can get more money, and they worship, especially the businessmen. They worship Lakshmi Devi to seek her favor so that they can get more money. This and what is Lakshmi Devi? What is she doing? Lakshmi Sahasrashata Sambrama Sevyamanam. Lakshmi Sahasrashata. Hundreds and thousands of Lakshmis with great reverence are begging for an opportunity to serve Krishna. This is his position. Such a person, he does not want your and my service. It is for our benefit that we are given an opportunity to serve. It is for our benefit, because when we engage in Krishna's service, we become purified. We become cleansed of this contamination of Maya. Therefore, a person who is intelligent, when he approaches, he will ask, he or she will approach, they will say, Prabhu, can I please get an opportunity to serve? Prabhu, please, can I get an opportunity? How can I serve? Prabhu, please tell me how I can, or Mataji, please tell me how I can serve. It is not in the mood of I'm helping you. No, nobody. Krishna, Prabhupada, nobody wants our services. You help yourself. You help yourself by begging for an opportunity to serve. When we are in this mood of seeking an opportunity to serve, then service will come. Then we will get opportunity. If you're in the mood of, yeah, I'm great, I can do so much of favor for you, just let me know how I can help you. This is coming from ahankar. This is arrogance. For coming from an understanding that I have so many things with me and just let me know what I can give to you. So like this, there are many subtle things. So devotees are very, they don't get into this trap of trying to be the master, trying to be the greatest. By becoming subservient, by becoming a dasa or a dasi of the Supreme Lord, they automatically become great. They realize their original position as the eternal servant of the Supreme Lord. They are freed from their cycle of birth and death, and they realize their eternal life in the association of the Lord. So in that sense, because they awaken their spiritual personality, their spiritual constitutional position, they overcome all the material contamination. Yet, even though they have awakened their spiritual identity, they are very eager to remain eternally servant of the Lord. This is their desire. So, like in the case of Dhruva Maharaj, he was lamenting that I was hankering for some material desires and I got stuck with these benedictions in this material world. I should have gone back to Godhead immediately, but because of my material desire, I got stuck here. For so many years, I have to feel separation from the Lord and engage in material activities. So that was his lamentation. So like that, we have to be careful about not getting carried away. And automatically, when a devotee is pursuing this understanding of trying to be the servant, although he may, for the service of the Lord, take up leadership position. Like for example, somebody is a father and mother. That is a leadership. Mother is a leader of the children. Likewise, the husband is a leader. Or somebody is taking care of responsibilities, say in the service of the Lord. They conduct themselves as in the same mood of being a servant of their dependents. How I am serving. I may be in a position of, say, I'm the head of the family. I may be head of the family, but I'm also a servant. How I'm serving all the other family members to come closer to Krishna by giving them guidance on how to become closer to Krishna. So that way I'm also their servant. So even though he's in that leadership position, his consciousness is not that, oh, I'm now a big person and all these people are dependent on me. And no, he doesn't think like that. Yes, I'm serving all those people, all these people who are dependent on me. I'm serving them by giving them guidance, by giving them protection, by giving them maintenance, and by helping them come closer to Krishna. I'm serving them. I'm their servant. This is the mood. So when somebody is in this mood, he will be untouched. Whether he is head of the family or he is head of the world, he will be untouched because he's constantly in that position, in that consciousness of a servant of the Lord. He's untouched by, he will remain untouched by power. He will remain untouched by fame. He will remain untouched by opulence. Nothing will touch him. He will continue to be, and this was the position of all these Rajarishis. They were in the position of great power, great opulence. Yudhishthira Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Janak Maharaj, So many, Bharat Maharaj, so many of these great devotees, they were Raja Rishis. Why? Because they were in this consciousness. They were never in this illusion that I am, all this whole world is mine and it is meant for my enjoyment, and all these subjects are meant to serve. So these are some wonderful insights that we can gain from this beautiful verse of Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna is talking about the wonderful quality of the soul, that it is indestructible by wind, by air, by fire, because it is antimatter. Matter can be destroyed, but spirit soul can never be destroyed by any of these means. And for the living entity, although he realizes the indestructible, the invincible nature by his advancement, he eternally remains the servant of the Supreme Lord. He remains servant of the Supreme Lord. In fact, it is only by remaining a servant of the Supreme Lord, he can actually realize his original position as an eternal living being, which is indestructible. Otherwise, he cannot even come to that platform. He will remain. If he is conducting himself by false ego, he will remain in this material world, continuing birth after birth after birth. So on that note, we'll stop for now, and let us hear some wonderful pastimes of Srila Prabhupada. Request Dhira Govinda Prabhu to kindly share some memories of Srila Prabhupada. Over to you,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Today, we would like to discuss and recall the memories of Prabhupada by one of the senior most disciples of Prabhupada, and very great scholarly and sincere devotees, and Dr. Paul Sherbo. We all know him by the name, initiated name as Shriman Pradyumna Das Adhikari. When we listen to Prabhupada lectures, many of the translations and even shlokas recitation, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, so all these things, it is chanted by Pradyumna Das Prabhu. He was part of translating books, Prabhupada books, all these books, what we have, many books, starting from the Nectar of Devotion and going to the Ishopanishad, then Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. So initially Prabhupada used to type and send across. Then tape system came. Prabhupada used to record and send it across. So that time Pradyumna Das Prabhu, then he got married. Then Prabhupada asked him, you buy IBM word processor. That's a word processor machine came. So you buy it and things let it make fast. So anyhow you're working outside. So Pradyumna Das Prabhu was also working out. So then he got this processor. He got the sales money. He installed and from then Prabhupada told, okay, let her type, you work on editing. Like, Mataji used to type. So then after once she typed, so he used to come and do editing. Many times he was doing this, initially he did, with respect to English words, literature changes certain things. And later he was a scholarly devotee, and he got into the, word-to-word meanings, and sometimes if there are some grammar mistakes, he used to go back to Prabhupada and ask him. So he was authorized to change certain things, and in other words, to give the right things and ask Prabhupada. So like this, he was part of this Prabhupada's this books, initial books which came, and they were close to. Initially, they were in the Columbus, and a lot of mail communication used to happen from the Columbus to New York. Then the printing press moved from New York to Boston. So there was like, once it is typed and edited, it is sent. They used to read to Prabhupada, and there is some requirement is that they used to send back in the mail, okay, you need to change this and change this. So then again, they used to resend. So it was like back and forth many times. So then they thought, okay, this is becoming huge. And then they themselves said that they shifted to Boston Temple. So he stayed there, and the books started, printing started going on. So Prabhu shares many things about how things work, how Prabhupada used to act, and he was very close to Prabhupada. A lot of things he has learned. Prabhupada is personally taught like this and like this, and many books, especially all these various Sanskrit books used to read for Prabhupada. Prabhupada used to. So Prabhupada mentions about, you know, Prabhupada had this, you know, Ashtatika, all 8 commentaries from various acharyas, Veera Raghava Acharya, you know, Ramanujacharya, like this, all acharyas, Madhvacharya. So through that, Prabhupada used to read and, you know, give the information. So type and, you know, sometimes type or record it and send. So he mentions like how Prabhupada was very determined to give the right things and explains so systematically. So in this way, especially in the end of the days when Vrindavan Prabhupada, you know, when they understood that Prabhupada, we have Prabhupada here for very less time, so we would like to, so Prabhupada may ask any time to, you know, come back and do translate. So he used to have the tapes. So whenever Prabhupada used to give the tape, immediately he used to go and he used to translate him, because he needs to come back and read to Prabhupada. Prabhupada, this is what you told. Yes, that is right. That is right. So Prabhupada used to verify and clarify it. So like he actually had very less time that time. He went back and by the he needs to be always ready, because at any time Prabhupada can ask, okay, I want to translate now. So in other words, he need to be ready for this. So he was like working so many hours that time when Prabhupada is translating, going back and coming. So this translations, in Roman transliteration to international standards, what we got in Sanskrit to, so it was all initially started by Pradyumna Prabhu and that entire thing, later Hayagriva Prabhu. So he trained many devotees. So this is, when we see today Prabhupada books, you know, so much of books, and when we read, we go through this, you know, oh, this verse, we just read it, but otherwise that verse to come there, and how many devotees have endeavored, how Prabhupada much, you know, spent his time on this, training devotees and devotees training others to this standard. That's something very inspiring and interesting. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you very much for this. Reminds me of one video. Maybe sometime we should play that. Brilliant as a Sun, which it's a short video which talks about how what were the steps involved from the time Prabhupada would dictate into the microphone and how it would actually come out in the books. And they have taken a video about, you know, like you were mentioning, it used to go, they would print, somebody would put the pictures, somebody would do the typesetting. So I was reminded of that. Thank you very much for sharing this pastime. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Let us now chant one round of Hare Krishna mantra, and after that, if anybody has any comments, any questions, please feel free to ask or discuss.
Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare.
So that was 108 times. If there are any questions, any comments, if anybody would like to share. Yes, Isha, go ahead, please.
Yeah, Prabhuji, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Prabhuji, I mean, the characters that you explained, like dominating over or lording over others, is it down to tamoguna or rajoguna, Prabhuji? And also, like, I would assume, like, devotion is the only way where we can achieve control or get rid of these characters, isn't it?
Yes, true. The desire to control, lord over people, lording over objects, sense objects, lording over circumstances. This is very, very deep rooted, very deep rooted. This can be removed only when we become cleansed by the process of bhakti yoga. By that process, one becomes completely purified, and it is only when you become completely purified, you can actually think of relating with living entities without any desire to control, to dominate, and to do actually good to them, to actually work in the welfare of everyone else, which is why it is so important. People who are in the position of leadership, they should be completely pure at heart. This Bhagavad Gita was meant for, it was originally spoken by Lord Krishna to whom? To Sun God, Vivaswan. Ivam Vivasvate Yogam Proktavan Ahamabhyayam. Vivaswan Manave Prava Praha Manur Ikshvak Vibra. This is 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is saying, Krishna spoke this message to Sun God. What was Sun God's position? Sun God was the president of the Sun planet. He's a predominating deity of the entire Sun planet, because if he is familiar and if he is situated in the principles of the Lord's teachings as it is given in the Bhagavad Gita, then he will bring about good fortune to all his subordinates, all his dependents. They can expect protection, maintenance, and progress in spiritual life under the leadership of such king. So it is very, very important. So regardless of what position we are, the only way by which one can become cleansed is by practicing this sadhana. Otherwise, we will have bitterness. We'll have bitterness with our family members. We'll have bitterness with our colleagues. We'll have bitterness with our neighbors. Why? Because there is this desire to lord over, dominate, control. People suffer so much because of this. One can truly become free only when the heart is cleansed of all these ulterior, this material desire of, and it's very deep rooted. It doesn't go so easily.
Yeah, that's right, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, is it down to Rajoguna or Tamoguna? I mean, how should we classify?
Yeah, it's a the symptom of it's a Tamoguna is greediness. Rajoguna is lust. So this desire for power, control, this is coming from Rajoguna, Rajasic nature. Yes. Yes, Harsha Mataji, you had something, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
I was just not admiring, I was just stating that Dhruv Maharaj's actual guru was her mother, because if mother has not directed him towards the God, you know, and I think that is what the good parenting in nowadays, that, you know, you don't stop at 5-year-old. I mean, he was such a tender, loving, I mean, you know, he was not being able to look after himself. Even at that tender age, his mother allowed him to go and worship the God. I feel that is, I feel, I don't know, I feel very touched by that, you know, the mother allowed her own son to go and look for the God, because she knew that was ultimate goal.
No, very rightly said. Actually, it is said, generally the boy inherits the nature of the mother, and the girl inherits the nature of the father. So his mother was a devotee of the Lord, and so naturally she encouraged the son, and the son also was inclined because he was born of a devotee mother. And she advised him, yes, the only person who can help you is Krishna. So I'm not in a position to help you, but Krishna can help you. There's nothing impossible for him. She had that faith, so she was able to guide him. So it is said that, and as you said, that she allowed him to go. This was actually the Vedic system of Gurukula. 5 years of age, the boys are sent to Gurukula. It's like a boarding school. They live with their guru, and because it's painful for parents, because they will miss their children. But they know if they don't send their children to be educated, then they will remain a fool throughout their whole life. They will never learn. They will never be able to make their human life successful. And because they would live in the Gurukula, they would be trained. They would live as brahmacharis. They would practice strict celibacy, and they would be taught all the Vedic wisdom by the spiritual master. And then later in age, if somebody wants to remain a brahmachari for life, they're encouraged. Or if somebody wants to get married, then they would enter grahastha and because they have been trained in brahmacharya till 20-25 years of age, so even if they are in a grahastha life, in a householder's life, they will be very regulated. They will, because of the training that they receive, they will not live like cats and dogs. They will live a very regulated life, and eventually they will remain always spiritually inclined and eager to, at the right time, eager to give up their all material connections and take up vanaprastha and then eventually sannyas. So that was the whole culture and training. So as a mother, she encouraged him to search after Krishna and fulfill his desires.
Yeah, but that's true. But I think, I mean, I agree what you're saying about Gurukula Pratha and everything. But Dhruv Maharaj went into the forest on his own to do penance. That was a kind of, doing things on your own at that tender age and allowing mother to let go. That was ultimate.
Yeah, very special. Yes.
Thank
and
you.
at the end, when Dhruv Maharaj was on his way back to the spiritual world, there was a Vaikuntha Vimana which came to pick him up, and the Vishnu Dutas came to take him back to Godhead. They said, now your human life is successful, and we welcome you to the spiritual abode. And as he was getting onto the plane, so he was concerned, what about my mother? Because he remembered that he pursued this path because of his mother's inspiration and mother's encouragement. So he was concerned, what about my mother? He asked. So the Vishnu Dutas who were welcoming him onto the Vaikuntha Bhavana, they said, look there, she's behind you, she's also coming, she's also now on her way back to Godhead. So he was very happy that she has also made her human life successful, and she's also going back to Krishna. So from this we can learn that when somebody dedicates their life or engages themselves in surrendering to the Supreme Lord, serving his mission, and they make this as their goal of life, such sons and daughters, they are rendering the greatest service to their family. They're rendering the greatest service, and by the strength of their devotional service, their family members automatically get benefited. Like in the case of Dhruv Maharaj's mother, because of his tapasya, his penance, and his devotion service, his mother automatically she became qualified, and she went back to Godhead. So these are some thoughts. Thank you very much for joining. We look forward to see all of you next week. Hare Krishna.
Jai Haribol.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you. Thank you, Hare Krishna.